Welcome. This webinar is co-hosted by Cadre and Stellar, the resource networks for awardees funded through NSF's DRK-12 and ITEST programs. During the presentation, we invite you to ask questions by typing them into the chat. Hover over the bottom of your Zoom window to access the chat. All participants are currently muted, but we will pause later in the presentation for questions. At that point, please raise your hand and we will unmute you to ask questions. To raise your virtual hand, click the reactions button on the bottom of your Zoom window to find the raise hand option. If you are having any technical issues, please let us know in the chat. We will be recording this webinar and will share these resources with registered participants. With that, I'll hand it over to Sonia Aurora from the National Science Foundation to get us started.
Thank you, Liana. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us at the Proposal Submission Modernization Update session. I'm Sonia Aurora. I'm the lead project manager for the Proposal Submission Modernization efforts at the Foundation. And presenting with me or partnering with me today is Stephanie. She's our lead from the operations side of the house. On our agenda today, we're going to walk you through what the Submission Modernization Initiative is all about and what we have planned in terms of our Research.gov proposal ramp up. We're going to talk about the advantages in preparing a proposal in Research.gov. What are some of the enhancements we've made in the last several months? What are some of the capabilities available to you all today? What we're working on and what lies ahead. Also, how you can prepare a proposal utilizing our #1 training resource, which is our demo site, and what are some of the additional training resources available to you all in support of the migration. Also, we're going to leave you with some proposal tips where you can provide some feedback, where you can guide yourself and find some resources on our About page and some of the other areas where we want you to focus to get some of those resources. And lastly, I'll walk you through a live demonstration and highlight some of our key functionalities and capabilities available to you. So what is the Proposal Submission Modernization Initiative? What is that all about? So it is an initiative to modernize our proposal submission capabilities and migrate them from FastLane into Research.gov. Well, the question becomes then, why did we even decide to modernize FastLane or move to a new system altogether? Well, there was much debate when we started to think about modernizing. And of course, there was the option on the table was to modernize FastLane and maybe enhance the infrastructure and see how that plays out. Well, we did kind of an assessment on which path should we take, and meeting with our senior leadership team and hearing all their thoughts and concerns, and really digging deeper into what is the right path, really narrowed down to a couple of key points. And so one was that, of course, FastLane has been the core in how you would submit and prepare a proposal in conducting business with NSF. But the challenges was that, the infrastructure is just too old. However, it was revolutionary at the time at launch, right? We were moving from paper to automation. So it was great. It served the purpose. But now it doesn't meet the modern industry standards. It's not intuitive. It's not user-friendly. Also, to kind of enhance the legacy system, there was a lot of security concerns and a lot of loopholes that just didn't seem to resonate with what we're trying to achieve and accomplish as in terms of a modern system. So we decided to proceed with a new application altogether called Research.gov. And so that's where we are today. It's that we're trying to migrate our external or our user community over to Research.gov. And we're going to elaborate and go over why it's important, why it's necessary, and how it will impact you. So what is this important notice all about? So a few months ago, actually last fall, my team and I, along with my leadership team, met with the NSF senior leadership team to talk about a ramp-up strategy. So we already know that FastLane doesn't cut it in terms of what we want to provide our users. So we need a plan to migrate our FastLane users over to Research.gov. So a couple of important things were highlighted in the important notice, and it's also based on collective feedback when we went on various conferences, and we took and gathered those feedback and we tried to address it in the important notice, which was the top question is, when is NSF going to require us to start using FastLane, or what does that cutover date look like? And so it's loosely defined in the important notice. And so what it states is 2022. So what we're telling you all is by end of calendar year 2022, you will be required to use Research.gov as the NSF approved submission system. Grants.gov will always remain as an alternative option for you all as it's required. So talking about our ramp up, since this important went out, what we did is we have partnered with our directorate level leadership key stakeholders, and we tried to partner with them to come up with a migration plan to move over their funding opportunities over to Research.gov. And so we started the first phase with the Directorate of Biological Sciences. So what we did there was that we started to move over their core solicitations without deadlines, and now we're actively partnering with them to move their deadline solicitation over incrementally. And so, the Directorate of Bio, what they did is their senior leadership put out a DCL, a Dear Colleague letter, to notify the bio community that in the fall, in the coming months, the plan to migrate over will start looking like this. And so we've, worked closely with other directorates such as GEO as well as EHR to move some of their funding opportunities over. And so you will start seeing, an increased number of funding opportunities moving over to Research.gov. And so those that have moved over to Research.gov will not be available in FastLane. And so that's the goal. It's that we want to incrementally add more additional funding opportunities over to Research.gov and eliminate those from FastLane. So what are some of the advantages to both PIs and research administrators in preparing and submitting a proposal in Research.gov? Well, first off, you will see in just a few minutes how quickly it is to initiate a proposal using the 5-step proposal creation wizard. That in itself, should be an advantage for you to come over to Research.gov. But it also provides immediate feedback with each proposal section. And so it helps you focus on section by section, and it provides actionable errors if you receive any or warning messages. And so that you can, take those into as constructive feedback and then revise the document as necessary.
Oh, Sonia is freezing a little bit.
So,
I'm not sure if it's me or her.
Research.gov provides faster document uploads. It
is not just you, Stephanie.
Okay.
Okay.
See her. Okay.
All right. So we've Research.gov also provide compliance checks for the type of messages that you will receive per your document upload, such as is it an error message or is it a warning message, and how you can correct those files. Research.gov uploads provide higher quality of submissions versus FastLane, where your PDF is redistilled. Lastly, you can rest assured that it minimizes your return without reviews due to formatting issues. So we do like to emphasize some of these advantages in preparing your proposal in Research.gov. So what are some of the enhancements that we've made recently? So the first one, and it's a very important one, is the removal of the font type and font size compliance checks and associated compliance warning messages. So why did we decide to remove this? Well, one, this is just to let you know that we take your feedback very seriously. So we've received a number of feedback from our external community, such as yourself, that this is a pain point, that this is an area of concern. And this is, one area that is really, keeping you from getting a restful sleep at night in terms of preparing your proposal and submitting. So we really wanted to address that. And we did remove this from Research.gov last fall. And so, we hope this also benefits the community and, makes it easier for you all to migrate over to Research.gov. Available since our March release, which is the effective date of March 22nd. Since then, you have 3 new proposal types that's available to you, and that is FastEd, equipment, and travel. And we've also added the automated compliance checks associated with those 3 proposal types. Also, with the March release, we've enabled proposal withdrawal capability. And so you are able to withdraw both a single submission with or without subawards and separately submitted collaborative proposals. So that's also been an area of concern with our Research.gov users. So we did provide that capability. Also, in addition to that capability, we've added a withdrawal FAQ, which you can find in the About page. So what are some of the new training resources available to you if you haven't had the opportunity to check out the About page? Well, first off, again, as I mentioned earlier, the demo site is a great training resource available to you. But we've also added a 16-minute, very helpful proposal demo video, and it highlights the key functionalities in preparing a proposal in Research.gov. We've also added new how-to guides, and in the coming months, we're going to add multiple how-to guides. So be on the lookout for that, and check the About page as often as you can for more training materials. We've also updated our FAQs to address some of the new enhancements and new functionalities that we've recently deployed. We've also added a call-out box to help you quickly see the proposal and submission types that's currently supported in Research.gov. And so if you haven't visited the About page recently, you will see that we've cleaned it up a little bit and made it a little bit more user-friendly so that you can quickly find relevant materials. Now, here is a table that shows you our capabilities overview. So the real point of kind of outlining this is to show you how much we've already enabled in Research.gov. So that's what's highlighted in the current capabilities box on the far left. And then what we're working on currently is some additional proposal types, which includes conferences, Ideas Lab, and Goalie. We're also working on submission types, which includes letter of intent, preliminary proposal, full proposal related to a preliminary proposal, renewals, as well as accomplished-based renewal proposals. So right now, our target is around late summer or early fall. As we narrow down the month we plan to release some of these capabilities, If you have already joined our listserv, you'll definitely hear from us as to when these are going to be implemented. Also, what we are working on is supplemental funding requests. Now, this is a post-award action item, and we think this is a great benefit, one to, our already Research.gov users, but also, those that are migrating over to Research.gov. We hope, this is a benefit to you all. Again, I've already mentioned we are, continually updating our about page with new training resources. So how-to guides will be offered, additional how-to guides will be offered in the coming weeks and months. We're also trying to support multiple webinars to get the word out that, there is a date that NSF is starting to circulate when we anticipate in moving all of our users over to Research.gov and when we plan to turning off the proposal preparation and submission module within FastLane. So we really do want you to all take advantage of the resources that's available to you, and please do reach out to us if at any point you have any questions or concerns. If you feel that, you don't have, an SPO, with your institutions or organization, you just don't have the resources to support the migration, please reach out to us. Please let us know so we can work with you and see how we can help you migrate over. And what we're, looking into working out in the future is looking into solicitation-specific requirements, how we can implement those capabilities within Research.gov. So more to come on that. So a little bit about our demo site. Our demo site was launched last October, and we have seen a tremendous climb in our users utilizing this training resource. I mean, we can't express enough how much of a value this will add, especially if you have new faculty, if you're new to the organization, and you've never conducted business with NSF. This is really an opportunity for you to get the look and feel, how to prepare a proposal in Research.gov. The demo site, offers the same look and feel as the live environment, with some, functionality that is not available as is in the live environment, and that is, users using the demo environment will not be able to submit proposals. That has not been enabled. As we move down our development timeline, we will reevaluate and reassess if this is an area that you all, think is a good idea to implement or to test out. Again, we won't know without your feedback. So if you express to us that, hey, we think that submitted proposals or submission is a very important step in your proposal preparation process, we'll gladly take that and incorporate that down the road. Another functionality that is not enabled in the demonstration site is notifications. So you will not receive email notifications as you would in the live environment. So those two we intentionally disabled for the first iteration. But based on your feedback, if you think that's necessary, then we will try to work that in down the road. Also, a big note here is that all demo site users will be defaulted to a PI role. Again, we felt that, since PIs are the ones that initiate the proposal, we wanted our demo site users to see it from that perspective. We are also going to look into adding other user roles as we move along the timeline. One other additional material that's available to you in the demo environment is the demo site specific FAQs. And so that we thought that was very helpful for you to maneuver yourself through the site. And that should address a large number of concerns that you may have. But at any point, if you feel that, something is not addressed or you'd like for us to look into, please provide your feedback. I've already highlighted majority of our training resources that's available, but some of the other resources that is available is our automated compliance checking list. So that's available as a clickable link on the About page. And I'll highlight this during our demo. There are some how-to guides, which I mentioned already. Also, when you move through the preparation process and through the required sections, you will see some inline help features. Also, you will see informational tooltips and links to the PAPG, also links to the FAQs, and some sections will have very helpful video tutorials. So please do take advantage of those resources as you're preparing your proposal. So what are some of our proposal tips to you? We want you to be aware that proposal information cannot be transferred from FastLane to Research.gov and vice versa. Proposal file updates and budget revisions must be executed in the same system as the proposal was submitted. So for example, if you submitted your proposal in Research.gov, then you must start or initiate your proposal file update in Research.gov. All proposals in a separately submitted collaborative set from multiple organizations must also be prepared in the same system. So for example, if the lead proposer initiated a proposal in FastLane, then the non-leads must follow suit. It must be initiated in FastLane. Proposals submitted in Research.gov are evaluated by NSF the same way as proposals are submitted in FastLane and Grants.gov. So this migration does not affect the merit review process in any way. If you need technical support, please do reach out to our NSF help desk. If you have any policy-related questions or concerns, please direct to our policy office. So I wanted to provide a quick review or overview of what it means when you receive compliance error versus warning messages in Research.gov. So automated compliance checks triggering an error message will prevent you from submitting your proposals to NSF. But if you receive a warning message, then you can still proceed to the subsequent sections, and ultimately you will be able to submit your proposal to NSF. Proposers that receive a compliance error or warning messages should check the automated compliance checking of NSF proposal page and the solicitation for solicitation-specific requirements. So we do encourage you to look back at the solicitation for guidance. Proposers should also review the topic-specific FAQs located in the About page to guide you with any questions or concerns you may have related to margin, line spacing, cover sheet, and or budget-specific questions. So we do try to always update the FAQs as we see more questions coming in. Again, based on your feedback, we try to elaborate and expand on that. Where can you provide feedback to us? If you access the Research.gov main page, there is a feedback button, an orange feedback button located on the left bottom corner of the page. And you click on that and you can provide your feedback. So what are some additional resources available to you all? So if you want to stay up to date on what's happening with NSF, what are some of the system enhancements and changes, especially, what is the, the specific date that, we plan to turn off FastLane. If you want to know those kind of information, please sign up for our listserv. We do try to reach out to our community with every enhancement that we make. As soon as there's new functionality or feature available to you all, we do try to communicate that way. Also, check out our automated compliance checklist that's available again in the About page. That's updated also with every major release, and that's a great resource for you all to know what submission and proposal types are available. Also, if you want to participate in, policy updates as well as system updates, we do the NSF electronic forums 2 times a year, a spring and a fall one. So you can sign up for that as well to, hear about our updates. Now I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing the presentation, and I will switch to a demo. So give me a couple of seconds to do that.
Hey, Sonia, I'm going to take this time to answer some questions while you're transitioning. Okay. Someone has asked me about NSF support for LaTeX files. So this has been an idea that was floated, but since PSM has removed the font checks, that hasn't been high on our priority list anymore. Because we're no longer checking the fonts, LaTeX files are not experiencing an issue with font warnings anymore. So that has kind of fallen off. We are open to collaborations. That is something we are interested in, but it's not high due to the, due to we're not checking fonts anymore. So the door is open on that, but we're not actively working on an NSF LaTeX template. We just don't have that expertise on our development team. So we're really looking, for assistance on the community on, how to start that. There's a lot of, packages you need to install. There's a million and one ways how LaTeX files could be generated. So it's just it's a pretty big chunk, a pretty big task to try to tackle. So it's just not a priority right now. But we're open to collaboration. So if you want to, you can contact us offline.
All right.
Thank you, Sonia. You can go ahead.
Okay, just wanted to see if anyone else have any last minute questions before I move on with the demo.
Yes, there's one more question. Will requests for awarded proposal transfers or creating subawards on existing awards to other institutions have to be done in Argo? Let's see, requests for awarded transfers. So are you talking about notifications and requests? Those are, so most of the notifications and requests are in Research.gov. There are 4 remaining on FastLane. And yes, there is a plan to move those remaining 4 to Research.gov. I don't have a timeline for that. I think that's what you're asking for. If that doesn't answer your question, just send me another direct message in the chat.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. All right.
Oh, now and another question.
Oh, okay.
Someone wants us to clarify the font checking. So what that means is that the font requirements for, this is just the system, the PAPG requirements and fonts are still in effect. What's different is that Research.gov is no longer giving hard stops or warnings to people who violate those fonts in the Research.gov system. So it's now the same as FastLane. FastLane is not checking the fonts as it used to with Research.gov. We just removed those checks, but the font rules with the PAP guys still apply.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and walk you through some of the features and functionality that we have implemented in our demo site. So once you're on the Research.gov homepage, you can access the demo site under the Prepare and Submit Proposal functionality. So it's located right here. I'm going to go ahead and click on the demo site. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and log in. Now, one thing I want to highlight is that the organization that you are affiliated with in your NSF account profile will be transferred to the demo site. But we will also provide the National Science Foundation as a mock organization through your proposal preparation process. So I'm logged in now. And once I'm logged in, a welcome message pops up. Now, this is similar to the actual proposal submission system. It provides important messages for your awareness about the demo site functionality. The demo site is a replica of the live site, and this provides you the opportunity to get familiar with the look and feel, and also to become familiar with the functionalities in preparing a proposal in Research.gov. So let's go ahead and click continue. Now, a few things to highlight here. So at the top of the demo site, you will see an orange banner to clearly indicate that you are in the demo site. And to the top right-hand corner, as I've mentioned earlier in the presentation, your role has been defaulted to a PI. So for future consideration, we will be looking into expanding on additional user types. Under the submitted proposals section, you will see an information icon to inform you that the submission functionality is not enabled in the demo site. And as I mentioned earlier, we will consider adding this down the road. So let's go ahead and prepare a proposal by clicking on the Prepare a Proposal button. Now, here are the 5 steps in the proposal creation wizard. The first step is to select a funding opportunity. And all proposal types or funding opportunities that's in the live environment is also available in the demo site. So you can either filter by keyword search or by the funding opportunity number. So I'm going to go ahead and select one for our demo and click next. So the second question is where to apply or the units of consideration. Now, because this has a defaulted value, that means that this funding opportunity, you can only apply to this specific directorate, division, and program. However, for another funding opportunity such as tab G, you can add multiple units. And so I'm going to go ahead and add a couple just to walk you through how to do that. And we've added an additional feature where you can prioritize the units of consideration by clicking on the arrow button here. All right, so now let's go ahead and move to the third step. The third step is the proposal type. So with our recent March release, we have added FastEd, equipment, and travel proposal type. So I'm going to go ahead and select research for the purposes of our demo and move to the next step. The fourth is the submission type. And at the present time, the only option is full proposal. However, our development to enable other and additional submission types are well underway, and it will be available to you in the very near future. I'm going to go ahead and click next. And so the last step in the wizard is to identify whether this proposal is a single submission with or without subawards or a separately submitted collaborative proposal. And as I always tell our external community, NSF defines collaborative proposals in 2 ways, and that's single submission with subawards or separately submitted collaborative proposals from multiple organizations. So for this demo, I'm going to walk you through a single submission with subawards. Now, I did mention during the presentation that we created a 16-minute video, and that will walk you through a separately submitted collaborative proposal. Okay, so again, for the demo, I'm going to do the single submission. All right, now I want to reiterate that, the video is made available to you all. It provides key functionalities and a walkthrough on how to submit a separately submitted collaborative proposal. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and add a title. Now, once I click on Prepare Proposal, you cannot undo any of your selections except for the proposal title. Now, this is the same functionality as is in the live system. So I just wanted to make that important note. So let's go ahead and prepare a proposal. See how quick that was? Hopefully you all saw that. So this is the main proposal page. And at the top in the orange text, you will be provided with helpful information regarding the functionalities within the site. To reiterate, the demo site is a replica of the actual proposal submission system, with the exception that the demo site will not allow submissions and will not generate email notifications. Also, please note that the demo site data will not be transferred to the actual proposal submission system. Now, moving a little bit further down, here are the selections I've made using the 5-step wizard. At this point, if you want to change your funding opportunity, you will have to prepare a new proposal. To the right-hand side is the due date. Now, if you were given multiple due dates, you'll be able to select from a drop-down. And here's a link to the PAPG funding opportunity. Moving a little further down are your required proposal sections. And then to the left are your proposal actions. And then moving a little further down are your optional sections. And to the left are some helpful links and a really great video on how to prepare and submit a proposal to us. Again, this is the same look and feel as the actual system. We have also carried over the information message icon functionality to provide additional guidance to our users. So at this point, as a PI, I can go ahead and share my proposal with the SBO and AOR. And a reminder is also provided to you on screen under proposal details. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Share Proposal. Now, to grant the access, you must click on Change Proposal Access. And there are 3 levels of proposal access. I can either grant View Only, Edit Access, and Edit Access with submission rights. So I'm going to go ahead, click on Edit Access with submission rights, and click on Save. Now, if you've successfully been able to perform that action, the system will generate a green check mark with a successful message. Now, I'm going to go back to the main proposal page. And I'm going to go ahead and upload a document and walk you through the error and warning messages and our compliance validations we have in place. So I'm going to go ahead, click on Project Summary. And as you see here, we have provided very helpful instructions to help you with this section of the proposal. And you will see similar guidance throughout the other sections. And as I've mentioned earlier during the presentation, we have removed the automated compliance checks and associated compliance warnings for font type and font size. So if you have feedback during your preparation process, you can easily access the Give Feedback button at the top right-hand corner. And this button will be available within every section. So again, please do provide your candid feedback. We do take those very seriously. Now I'm going to go ahead and upload a project summary.
Sonia, I wanted to take a chance to answer a question, if that's okay.
Yes, go ahead.
So someone asked, how can you share access with people who are not Spos or Aors? So the minimum requirement is they have to have an Nsf Id. What you can do is add an other authorized user. Sonia, I didn't know if you wanted to show that eventually, but that's another way that you can add someone that doesn't have a role, who's not a PI, maybe they're a graduate student. They have to be added as an other authorized user, and they have edit rights on the entire proposal. They cannot submit, they cannot, you know, they cannot create, but they can upload documents.
And I'll show you how to do that in just a little bit. All right, so with the first upload, it gave me an error indicated in the red right here. And so this is a hard stop, and you will not be able to proceed with proposal submission if you were in the actual system. I'm going to upload another file. So if your file was uploaded successfully, then you will receive a green check mark and you can proceed to the subsequent section. So another note here is that we have built in over 104 compliance validations checks versus 56 in FastLane. And the benefit to you and why more automated compliance checks are good is that it reduces the chance of your proposal being returned without review due to formatting issues. Now I'm going to go ahead and go back to the main proposal page and show you how to add an other authorized user and senior personnel to the proposal. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Manage Personnel and Subaward Organization, and then click on Manage Personnel to add senior personnel to my prime organization or other authorized user. So as you can see, there is a button that says Add Other Authorized User. You would simply click on that and look up that individual by the Nsf Id or by email. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and add a senior personnel to the prime organization, and I'm going to go ahead and add a co-PI. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add Stephanie. And at this point, I want to add a subaward organization. So I would simply go back to Manage Personnel and click on Add Subaward Organization. And you can search the organization by either the DUNS ID or by the organizational name. So I'm going to go ahead and search by the DUNS. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a co-PI to my sub-award organization by clicking on Manage Sub-Award Personnel. I'm going to go ahead and add a co-PI. Great, so that's how you would add senior personnel or other authorized users to your proposal. Now I'm going to go back to my main proposal page, and I'm going to show you how to add senior personnel documents to every senior personnel you have identified in your proposal by clicking on the senior personnel document section. Now, for all senior personnel, NSF requires a biographical sketch, current pending support, and COA documents. Now, as you can see, we have made it very easy for you to add all of your requirements under one section, unlike FastLane. So I'm going to go ahead and again highlight some of our compliance checks that we have in place, and I'm going to go ahead and upload a COA document. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we have provided very helpful instructions throughout the various sections, so it helps you focus on one section at a time. Also for COA, based on feedback from you all, we have also made a very helpful video available on how to upload a COA document. So let's go ahead and upload a COA document. Now, this upload is a hard stop, as indicated in red, and you cannot proceed to proposal submission. Also, I want to highlight that with this, we have provided you with actionable errors, which specifies the row, the column, if there's any special characters, so that you can focus on the areas that require your attention. So I'm going to go ahead and upload another file. Now, if your file was uploaded or uploaded successfully or received successfully, you'll see a preview of the uploaded document. And we encourage you to double check to ensure it is the correct file and the content within the file is correct. So once you've ensured that that is the correct file, go ahead and click upload. And if your upload was successful, you will receive a green check mark. Now, I'm going to walk you through how to add budget to the proposal by clicking on the budget section. So I'm going to go ahead and add budget to my prime organization. Now, a couple of things here. So we've enabled a very cool functionality where if you just wanted to focus on the budget, you can simply click on the hide menu, and that gives you more real estate into focusing on just your budget. If you wanted to remove a senior personnel from your budget, simply click on the manage link, and then you can remove a senior personnel. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of years. And if you've already started to populate data into the first year, you can certainly copy over that data onto the second year if you choose to. You can also delete years if you want it. And I'm going to go ahead and enter some values here. And as you see, the Research.gov rolls up the amount for you, so you don't have to take out your calculator and manually do that. So again, another way we're trying to reduce your administrative burden. Now, if you add a postdoctoral scholar, a postdoctoral mentoring plan is required, and the system will provide you with a note that that is required, and I'll show you how. Or I'll show you where it's present. I'm going to go ahead and click on Save. And if you note here, there are two messages that appears once I click Save. First is a green check mark that the system took the update that you made for the budget. But it also notes that a postdoctoral mentoring plan is now required since funds have been indicated in the budget for postdoctoral scholars. So we do try to, make this system work smarter and easier for you. So please do think about it when you're thinking about which system you want to submit your proposal in. All right. That was the primary highlight that I wanted to share with you all and some of the capabilities that's available to you all today. I'm going to stop sharing this screen, and I'm going to go back to the presentation to walk you through how to prepare a proposal file update and or a budget revision. Stephanie, did you want to take any questions at this time?
I think I have answered everything so far. You can take, I guess, voice questions if someone wants to do that. All right. Yeah, raise your hand if you need to ask a question. Okay. Yes, if you feel that some of my answers are not clear enough, just feel free to just reply back in the chat for clarifications.
I'm going to walk
Go ahead, Sonia.
you. Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to go back to the presentation and walk you through how to do a PFU or a budget revision. And so, can you all see that? So
Sonia, you're
under
breaking up a little bit.
proposal that you wanted to, okay, I'm a little closer there. So you'll be able to perform a PFU or a budget revision once you selected a proposal under the submitted proposal. And then what you would do is you would click on the Prepare Proposal File Update or Budget Revision button under the proposal actions. And so once you click on that, you will be able to modify or edit any of the required sections as you choose to. But also, we do require a proposal file update document for your revision. And
hey, Sonia, your screen is not maximized anymore. Can you make it bigger? Yes, thank you.
Okay. And if you have a proposal budget revision, you can also make a proposal budget revision at that time. Now, a couple of notes here. If there are reviewers that's been assigned to the submitted proposal, then NSF will only take a budget revision. But if reviewers are not assigned, then you can make any updates as you choose to. One reminder that we would like for you to take note of is that if you're performing a proposal file update, the access that you granted from the original submission doesn't get transferred over to the submitted proposal. Therefore, you must re-grant your proposal access to your SPO and AOR. And there will be a reminder on the screen under proposal details to let you know that you need to perform that action. And at any point, if you, let me go back to that screen. At any point you feel that, the update is not necessary or you have a change of heart, then you can delete the updates that you've made. All right, and so, this is just to walk you through if there are reviewers assigned, that then the only action you can perform is actually a budget revision. And you would click on the same action, and then you would go ahead and update your budget section. Now, the system will notify you that a budget impact statement is required for budget revisions. It is not enforced by our system, but it will be required when we do issue an award. Another thing to note is that, we want to know if your budget has reduced by 10%. So we do take that into consideration when you are updating your budget. All right, and that is all I have for you in terms of the demo, in terms of walking through our functionality. Now, we have some time left. If you have any additional questions, we'll take that now.
I'm going to go ahead and unmute or allow folks to unmute themselves. So you can raise your virtual hand. That's probably easier, but if you can't find that and just want to ask your question out loud, you should be able to do so now.
So I wanted to address one question. Someone's asking about who needs an Nsf Id. So anyone that needs to have access to the proposal needs an NSF ID. So that is the PI, the co-PI, the other authorized users, the administrators. So the people who, the Aors, the people who submit the proposal, they need an NSF ID. I believe, so those are people who need access, needs to get into the system. I believe you can add senior personnel without an NSF ID. Sonia, I don't know if you have that screen up. I'm trying to get that up myself. But I think you can add senior personnel without their NSF ID. You can just use a name. But I'm double checking right now. I hope that answers your question.
You said
need to have an
adding
NSF ID to have
another
senior personnel. Yeah.
personnel. Yep.
I believe you can use an email or a first name, last
Yes, you
name.
can.
Okay.
That is correct.
Okay. But in order to have access, in order to look at the proposal and do stuff to it, you need an NSF ID.
That is correct. That is correct.
Let's see. Anyone? Yeah, raise your hand if you want to ask a question using your voice. And even if it's something Sonia didn't cover, we can try to answer that.
While you might be marinating over some questions that you may want to ask us, a couple of things to share with you all is we did remove the font type and font size warning and associated compliance messages intentionally. As I said, we want to encourage more users to come over to Research.gov and get yourself settled before we start making any major changes and such. So we are looking at some alternative solutions, and once we think about a solution that we've narrowed down, we'll definitely share that with you all for your comment and feedback. And so normally it's done through the PAPG revisions when it goes out for public comment. So that would be the same manner in which we would get your feedback and perspective on any alternative solutions we plan on implementing. Similarly, with BioSketch and current pending support documents, we are looking into making some enhancements in those areas, especially around the fillable forms, and partnering more closely with the Science CV team over at NIH. And so we are going to start making some progress. We understand and we have heard your feedback as those are areas of concern. And so more to come on that. We will definitely communicate that once we narrow down a solution, or if and when we have something in place to implement.
Sonia, we have a question about, can Word documents and Excel documents be uploaded in Research.gov? And I can take that. So in Research.gov, all the sections are PDFs except for the COA document.
Correct. That's the only Excel file that you can upload. Talking about that, I want to note something else that we frequently get asked is for the budget. Do we plan to offer a template in addition to or as an alternative to what's there on the screen? And the answer is no. We do not have any current plans to provide an alternative mechanism for you to submit the budget. So you must submit the budget as instructed on screen. Any other questions?
Hey, Sonia, can you go back to the place where if you submitted a proposal and you wanted to make one more change, I guess where's that? Go to that page where you see the 3 boxes, and then you click on the box to see your submitted proposals.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the main proposal screen. Okay.
Yes. So when you submit a proposal and you say, oops, I need to make another change, it kind of depends on if the deadline has passed. If the deadline is still far, far away, you can change it again and again, as long as the deadline hasn't passed. And you would do that by logging into Research.gov. And if it's a Research.gov proposal, you will get 3 boxes when you go to proposal preparation, and you'll see a 3rd box called submitted proposals. And that's where you would click on to see all your submitted proposals. And that way you can go ahead and modify the sections that you need. If the deadline has passed, you can still update your proposal, but the difference is now the changes have to be approved by the program officer at NSF. You know, this is kind of preventing people to, you know, from submitting a bare bones proposal and then doing stuff after the fact. So basically the program officer at NSF will be notified that you've changed the section and they have to approve or deny that change. So that's the difference of, like, if there's a deadline, you have the flexibility of changing anything up until that deadline date. Once the deadline is passed, you can still make changes, but it's subject to approval for the program officer. And just to let you know, this Research.gov and FastLane are independent. So if you submitted a proposal in FastLane, you cannot see it in Research.gov, and vice versa. If you created a proposal in Research.gov, you can't see it in FastLane. So this is important because this is where the communications with your administrators is going to be key. The administrators won't, you know, unless you tell them, they won't know right away which system you used to submit a proposal. So if you ask an AOR to take a look at something you submitted, you have to tell them which system you used, because they're not going to know, or they're going to have to check two places. So, you know, it's just best to be communicating to everyone which system you use, because they're not together. One question from the chat is the Robert Noyce proposals submitted in Research.gov. The Robert Noyce solicitation, I believe, requires the DOE form, and those are not enabled in Research.gov yet.
Correct. You know, that's some of the constraints that we have, but we are, again, working very hard to implement additional functionality in the coming months. And so you'll definitely hear from us when we've made those capabilities available. But also an important note is that, again, we've partnered with the programs inside NSF to work with them and kind of engage with them as to when the system is enabled to take those funding opportunities, and then work on a migration plan.
One question from the chats, when would the proposals ever be merged? So, well, I think the short answer is no, they will not be merged. There will not be a day where you click on submitted proposals and you'll see both FastLane and Research.gov proposals. The idea is we would turn off FastLane, and that, you know, all your submit proposals will be, you know, in this system. There will be a transition time where that would be a little awkward. So we haven't gotten to that point yet, like where we would, you know, because there would be a point where if you submitted a proposal in FastLane today and we turn off proposal submissions in FastLane, you might still need to tinker with that FastLane proposal. So we won't be turning everything in FastLane off. We will, you know, methodically disable things as it makes sense. We would never close you out on a FastLane proposal. One thing I do want to note, this is more of a tip, or people may not know this, is when you log into Research.gov on the desktop page, I don't know if you can navigate to that, Sonia. Mm-hmm. So it's outside of this page. It's like my desktop, if you can go there. So there is kind of a one-stop shop to see all your submitted proposals in both systems, not this one, but click on my desktop.
I think it's defaulting here because it's a demo environment.
Oh, you don't have the main home.
No, let me go to Research.gov.
So when you log into Research.gov on the My Desktop, there's something called proposal status. That will show you all the proposals you've submitted in both systems. It won't tell you which system you use to submit it, but at least you'll be able to see, you know, if you submitted 2 proposals in FastLane, 2 proposals in Research.gov, you can click on check proposal status and it'll show you 4.
Get a login.
I hope that helps. Yeah, do we have items on our to-do list to make that proposal status a little smarter? You know, maybe indicators of, hey, you submitted this through Research.gov, or you submitted this through Grants.gov, and you submitted this through Research.gov, and that would help you know which system to go to.
Right.
I hope that helps.
So right now, again, as Stephanie kind of references, we're taking great strides to really migrate our FastLane population over to Research.gov. So that's our primary focus, and how we can support is also an area that we need to hear from you, right? How can we better help you? We provided a few set of resources that we think would greatly benefit you in the transition process, but without you all interacting with us and providing those feedback, we really won't know how to better guide you. And so in the past, some of the requests have been that can you provide a catered presentation and a demo to kind of handhold us through how to submit a proposal or what information we need to know. We're happy to do that, but you just need to reach out to us. And if you reach our IT help desk, you'll definitely your message will be communicated to us. One of our team members will receive that. So just let us know what your pain points are, and if there is something that we could do, we'll definitely try to incorporate that.
Sonia, we had a question about feedback and what's the best way to provide feedback. I can answer that. So if you go on the research, there's more than one way. Some people like to call IT Help Central and provide comments there, but I actually think if you have I don't think this is working, or I think it would work better if you did this, or those kinds of comments. If you go to Research.gov, at the bottom, very bottom, scroll to the very bottom, there's an orange feedback button. And here you can give anonymous, or you can give your name if you like, anonymous feedback on anything on the Research.gov system. And so basically that comes to our business office, and they go through that on a regular basis. And if they see a trend, if they see that 80% of people are complaining about this color, then that rises to the top of something to consider for the working group. So I would say, for things like how you feel about how PSM is working, I would say use that feedback button.
That's right.
That's my 2 cents on that.
That's exactly right. And again,
oh, Sonia's frozen again. Sonia, why don't you turn off your video to see if that works?
Frequent. I'm going to go to the About page and click on the proposal preparation and submission. And here is the page that I referenced that, we took some effort to kind of redesign it so it's more relevant information that's available to you. And so please do utilize some of these resources and let us know if, if it's not enough for you, or, there are some suggestions that you have, we would welcome that. And you can sign up for our listservs here. Again, and the ERA forum is also a great opportunity to hear about our policy updates, as well as our Research.gov modernization updates, and any other important area that we want to inform you about. And just kind of silent now, the video tutorial is located under video tutorial, and it's located here. The how-to guides are located here. Again, we are actively working on several how-to guides that we plan on incrementally adding to the how-to guide section. So be on the lookout for those.
Sonia, I have a user asking a question about SPOs. Can SPOs manage users? I'm not 100% sure, because sometimes, in my experience, the SPOs are often also the administrators. And so my first instinct is to say yes, but I think you have to have an administrator role to be able to manage users, but oftentimes SPOs are also administrators. So I suggest taking a look. I will give the link out. I don't have it off the top of my head. There's a very good help guide on how to assign roles and give those out. And that has a nice table in it that explains who can administer roles, who could, submit proposals, who can look at this. So hopefully that table would be helpful. So let me see if I can whip that up really quickly and send the link out. Any other questions or raising your hands?
To add on to Stephanie's comment, so another question that we have often received during conferences is, is there a plan for NSF to open the opportunity for administrative staff to initiate a proposal? And so right now we do not have any plans, but we did share this with the policy office because it has to come from policy change. And so, as we get the migration complete and, all of our users are now in Research.gov, there are more opportunities for us to expand on and kind of marinate over some of these other questions and, additional functionalities that you've been asking for.
I had a question about grants.gov and how does that relate to Research.gov. So right now, when you submit a proposal to grants.gov, it actually goes into the FastLane system. So that's more of the, but that's the technical answer. Right now, it goes to FastLane. So if you submitted a grants.gov proposal and you need to make an update, you would go to FastLane to do that. And however, the long term, yes, eventually we need to change that so that grants.gov proposals do go to Research.gov instead. But, I hope that answers your question. So short answer, grants.gov and Research.gov do not communicate with each other because grants.gov proposals are, in essence, FastLane proposals. But one day we will have to change that, but not today. Let's see, more questions.
So there is a question.
Yes, so let me, sorry, we're not account management experts, but this is a good thing for us to know that we need to have one in the future. But I put a link in the chat to see if everyone can see that. So this page is my go-to guide whenever I have someone ask me a question about roles. Here is where I can find the charts of what roles are available and what they can do. And there's lots of really short videos. So I would start there. But that's good feedback that the presentation is more geared towards PIs and there should be a little bit more comments about the administration pieces in access. Okay.
We can incorporate that into future presentations, absolutely.
Sonia, I wasn't paying too close attention to your demo, but did you go over the, granting access to the AOR part? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And it's also available in the video tutorial if you wanted to find out how to do it specifically, but yes.
And we had a question about transferring awards from institution to institution. So that's more of a post-award action. And so it's not our area of expertise, but that is still a notifications and request. I believe that's done in FastLane. I'm pulling that up really quickly. So Sonia, can you show them the About link at the top?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that goes anywhere on your demo. If you go to the About link at the top right-hand corner, it will have all the Research.gov services broken out. And then if you click on notifications and requests, this is all of them. And then one of the columns will show you whether or not it's in Research.gov or FastLane. And to change institution is a pretty, PI or co-PI transfer from one organization to another is still done in FastLane. So I hope that answers your question. I don't know how that particular functionality works, but still in FastLane right now. Yes. Yeah, that's my go-to guide to see which ones are over there. Most of them are in Research.gov, but I guess the most complicated ones are still in FastLane. See, any other questions that, you guys can put it in the chat or raise your hands. I mentioned this earlier, but I know a couple people asked about career. So career, we just posted it this week. We are having a career technical webinar next Wednesday. I put the link in the chat, but we will make sure it's in the notes after this meeting. It's very similar to this, but it has more account management stuff in it, and also has more of the, I guess, the dirty details about, creating tickets and how to keep track of that. So we have more of that detail on next Wednesday. So if anyone's interested, go ahead and register for that. But it's mostly this presentation plus a little bit more about timeframes, when to start certain tasks, has a little bit more about account management in there, and a little bit more about IT Essential in there. Presenter, can we get presenter emails to ask more questions? We can, I think that's fine. Let me send you my email address. But I actually have a different email address because we'll put that there, but
we have a career.
I have another email, but I don't. Yeah. I was thinking about the career website, because the website is monitored by more than one person. So let me try to find that really quickly and put that in the chat too, because more people look at that. I mean, more people monitor that inbox. So let me try to get that for you. Any other questions? Let me copy this. Lost my chat window. All right, so I pasted an email. That is a mailbox that we have it's for the career webinar next week, but it's totally appropriate for you guys to email that for any sort of technical questions about proposal submission. All right, any other questions? I hope we answered all your questions. If there's something you thought of, later after this ends, feel free to email us, or I do recommend the career proposal prep email address more, because more people are looking at that. All right.
Thank you, Sonia and
Thank
Stephanie,
you
for sharing this information with us today. It was really helpful. We will email the questions from the chat, the slides, and a recording of the webinar to everyone who registered to attend, and we will post it on our Cadre and Stellar websites. Good luck with your proposals, and thank you for attending, and thanks again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.